What's up, guys? How's it going? It's always me, Francesco, and we are again live with, of course, Wine Thursday, Fattoria di Montemaggio. Of course, I'm as always in the beautiful tasting room here at Fattoria di Montemaggio. We have, of course, this wonderful day here in Montemaggio. Of course, we can say that it's finally spring. Of course, we still have the sun shining right now, and it's 7:30. I mean, it's always like beautiful. We have very good temperature, very good temperature. And of course, I'm so excited for this new live for of course this new wine discussion. Actually, today we decided, of course, to speak about agronomy. Of course, we will speak about the annual growth cycle of the grapevines. Of course, this is a process that actually takes place in the vineyard each year, and it actually begins with the bud break in the spring, and it usually end with leaf fall in autumn, and then of course we had the winter dormancy of the vineyard. I would like to say that from winemaking perspective, each step in this process plays a vital role in the development of grapes, and with the ideal characteristic for making wine. And of course, we will try to summarize today all of the moments, all of the different steps. We can say that, of course, we have the vegetative cycle, and of course another sub-cycle. I mean, these are both sub-cycle, the vegetative cycle, and then of course we have the reproductive cycle. So of course, now we will start, of course, from the beginning. The beginning of this annual growth cycle, and as I told you, it's usually start with the bud break. It starts always with the bud break, and in the north hemisphere, this stage begins around March. And we can see that in the southern hemisphere, it begins around September. Of course, when the daily temperatures surpass the 10 degrees Celsius, which I think is around 50 Fahrenheit. So if the vine had been pruned during the winter, the start, of course, of this cycle is, of course, signaled by a bleeding of the vine, and of course, this bleeding, of course, when the soil begins to warm, and of course, the osmotic forces push water that contains actually a small concentration of organic acid and, of course, mineral and sugar up to the root system of the vine, of course. And this is so important because, as I told you, the osmotic forces push the water up from the root system of the vine, and of course it's expelled from the cuts or wounds left over from the pruning of the vine. So during this period, during this moment, a single vine can bleed up to 5 liters of water. So this is so important. You actually see a liquid, a little bit of this kind of water that is actually dripping from the vine. So if you, of course, I would like also to show you. So we have a comment. Ma ti riesce di parlare italiano? Siamo in Italia. Unfortunately, of course, we do this in inglese. Sfortunatamente facciamo questo in inglese. Magari in un futuro faremo anche il giovedì vino instead of the Wine Thursday, and parleremo in italiano. Magari, ecco, sarebbe un'idea carina, magari anche iniziare a fare queste discussioni sul vino in italiano. I said that it could be quite interesting, probably also to of course, do this wine discussion also in Italian. So I was saying that I would like to show you the bleeding of the vine. So let me just share my screen for 1 second, and there we go. So you can literally see in this picture, there's a bit of water, there's a bit of liquid that is dripping out from the vine, and this is actually what I was like explaining to you a moment ago. So this is just like the water that is pushed up from the roots, and of course it's expelled from the wounds that of course are of course a consequence of the pruning that we do during the winter, right? So this is a very, 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 very important moment. As I told you, this is something that usually happens around March. In some place here in Chianti Classico area, it's already started. Another place, of course, maybe areas where you have colder temperature or wineries that are located on a higher position. You tend to have this kind of process a little bit later in the season. But yeah, more or less, this is something that it's happening right now. So let me see if we have more comment. Hello, Matteo. Thank you so much for joining us, of course. Thank you. So I was saying, of course, that after, of course, this bleeding, of course, we have these tiny buds of the vine that start, of course, to swell, and eventually shoots begin to grow from the buds. Buds are actually that kind of small part of the vine that rests in between the stem and the leaf stem. So inside the buds, we can say that they contain usually 3 like primordial shoots, whatever you want to call them. And these buds appear usually in the summer of the previous growth cycle, so the year before. And they are green and covered in scales. During winter dormancy, they turn brown until, of course, the spring, when, of course, the vine begins to begin the process of the bud break, and the first sign of green appear in the vineyard. Of course, you see, of course, the vineyards turning, of course, slowly green, of course. And that's, of course, the moment, as I told you, that we are almost like right now. So it's happening like right now, March, the beginning of April. So after this bleeding of the vine, after of course, the bud break, we have another exciting and important moment, which is the flowering. This is actually the moment where we develop the inflorescences. So I hope my pronunciation is correct. And depending on the temperatures, 40, 80 days after bud break, the process of flowering begins with small flower cluster resembling pearl buttons, we can say, on the tips of the young shoots. So you see this very, very, very small flower cluster on the tips of the young shoots. Flowerings occur when the average daily temperatures stay between 15 and 20 degrees Celsius. Again, I think it's 59, 68 Fahrenheit. And in the northern hemisphere, of course, wine region, this is something that usually happen around May. In the southern hemisphere, it's around November usually. So a few weeks after the initial cluster appearing, the flowers start to grow in size, with individual flowers becoming, of course, observable. And basically, during this stage of flowering, the pollination and fertilization of the grapevine takes place as well. And of course, the result is the production of a grape berry. So again, this is something that it's like about to happen. So in 1 month, we will see this process actually in the vineyard. So we're also decided to do this. Wine discussion today, because of course this is the beginning of April, so we're just right now at the beginning of this process in the vineyard. Again, as I told you, it depends if you are in a colder region, if you are in a warmer region. Depends, of course, of course, also on the vintages, because of course some vintages are warmer, some other vintages are colder, and so on. But again, this is actually the moment of the start of this entire beautiful process. So after, I mean, the step that is following fertilization, it's the fruit set. Let's say that the stage of fruit sets follow flowering almost immediately, we can say. When the fertilized flower begins to develop a seed, and of course in grape to protect the seeds. Of course, as I told you, we need always to differentiate the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere. We can say, again, this is something that we can see at the end of like May here. In southern hemisphere, we can say late November, end of November. And this stage is absolutely critical for the wine production, because of course, since it determines the potential of the crop yield. We should say that not every flower of the vine gets fertilized. The unfertilized flower eventually, of course, will fall off from the vine, of course. And again, after of course this fruit set, we start to see this kind of like initial growing of the fruit. Of course, at this point, we should say that the fruit are, of course, green, and I mean the grape berries are green and hard to touch. Also, we should say that at this point they have a very little sugar, and they have a very high organic acid. So they begin to grow to about, of course, they begin to grow and to start to change color when we have the starting of the verizon. This is a process that usually we can, let's say, see in August, late July, in the beginning of August here. And again, this is what we call verizon. In Italian, we call it actually invaiatura process. And as I told you, before this process, the fruit, the grape berries are green and hard to touch. They have very little sugar and very high organic acid. They begin to grow. And they begin to grow to about half or their final size almost when they enter the stage of verizon. This stage signals the beginning of the ripening. We can say the ripening process. And again, as I told you, it takes place at the end of July, the beginning of August. And when it comes about the southern hemisphere, we can say the end of January, the beginning of February. So what happened literally during this process? The color of the grapes change. So again, this is what we call in Italian invaiatura. And if you take a walk during the beginning of the month of August in the fields here in Montemaggiore, I mean everywhere, probably in Tuscany, you start to see certain kind of grapes that start to change a little bit colors, and of course they basically start to become, for example, from green, they turn from green to red. Of course, during this stage, we can see that the colors of the grapes take form, and we go from green to red, black for the red variety, or to yellow for the white variety. Sorry. Of course, this color changing is due to the chlorophyll in the berry skin being replaced by the anthocyanins. So this is something that, of course, it happens for the red varieties. And when it comes about, of course, the white variety, we have the carotenoids that, of course, replace the chlorophyll inside the skins of the berries. Also, we have this process that is known as engustment, and the berries start to be more softer at this point, and they build up sugar. Let's say that within 6 days of the start of horizon, the berries begin to grow like dramatically as they accumulate glucose, and of course fructose, and of course the acid begins to fall. I would like to show you also a picture of the horizon. Okay, let me just share my screen. Okay, there we go. So this is the processo di invaiatura, or process of horizon. You can see that of course, the color of this grape, it's not completely the same everywhere, because of course it's happening right now in this moment, this very specific moment, the invaiatura process, the horizon process. So you see, we have few berries that are actually green, and others that are actually already became black. So let me just tap the screen sharing. There we go. So let me see if we have comment. Okay, no, we don't have any other comment. I would like also to show you the young grapes. So the step that it's immediately before of this horizon step. These are the young grape. Just let me share the screen once again. So this is the young grapes. This is like the first like step of the young grape. Then of course, from this they will start to mature and become, of course, more and more like the actual grape, the proper shape of grape that everybody knows. So after the horizon, after the invaiatura process, we actually start, of course, to go at the end of the entire process, and we can start to consider. We can actually start to consider the harvest. Of course, we can start to see if we are ready after, of course, that the grapes are completely mature. We can consider, of course, to start the harvest time. Of course, let's say that usually the time of harvest depends on the variety. Depends also on the variety, but it's a multifactorial things, because of course, we have so many different things to consider. As I told you, the grape variety. We have also to determine the ripeness of the grapes, and also another thing that we should consider is what we want from the grapes that we are going to harvest. For example, if we want a lower sugar percentage and of course a slightly higher acidity, we can start a little bit in advance on the final step of maturation, the harvest, for example, we do that for the rosé. We start a little bit in advance the harvest with the Sangiovese, have slightly higher acidity for the rosé, and of course lower sugar content. And then of course we can develop, of course, a lower alcoholic content in wine. So of course. Once that we decided if we are ready to start with the harvest, we can, of course, to decide if we are ready to start with the harvest, we need to consider so many different factors. We should understand also that as the grape ripens on the vine, the sugar and the pH increase as the acids, for example, such as malic acid, they decrease. Also, the tannins and the phenolics, they also develop during the ripeness of the grapes on the vines, and this is something that actually it's important, because this can affect the flavor and the aromas in the resulting wine. So this is something that we need really to be focused when we decide, when the agronomists actually decide to start with the harvest. Also, we should say that in Montemaggio, we of course make all of this kind of like check and control in the vineyard. We do analysis and so on, but not that much. Ilaria, our agronomist and manager, she prefer, of course, to taste the berries in order to be able to understand if they are actually ready to be harvested, if they are at the point that we want of course, at the point that we consider grape ready to be harvested. So after the harvest time, the vine continued the process of like photosynthesis. They, of course, at that moment they are creating carbohydrate reserve to store in the vine roots and the trunk. It will continue this process until like an appropriate level of reserve had been stored. And at that point, of course, the chlorophyll, we can see that, of course, it's in the leaves, begin to break down, and the leaves change color. This is like the color that you see in the vineyard during the first days of autumn. And after this moment, following the first frost, we say usually, the leaf begins to fall, and the vines start to enter in the winter dormancy period. Of course, we should say that at this point, of course, we will have this phase di quietanza, so the moment of, again, the sleeping of the vine, of the dormancy. And so the entire winter, they will just rest. Of course, the vineyard will just rest, and we can, of course, prune, and we can take care of the vineyard in every like possible way in order to prepare everything for the following spring. Of course, the following springs, here we go again, let's say, and the cycle begins again. So next spring, of course, we will have the same kind of like cycle starting again. Of course, this is just like a summary of what actually is going to happen both in spring and summer, and as well during the harvest time. But of course, all of these processes are quite complex. Today, I just tried to summarize, and I tried, of course, to make them a little bit more simpler, and a little bit more, let's say, understandable for everybody. Even like for me, it's always like, I'm not an agronomist, right? So it's always like sometimes a bit not that easy to understand certain kind of complex method. Complex process that are happening in the vineyard. But of course, it's always like cool to see literally what is happening, what's going down in the specific. So I hope you enjoyed this little wine discussion about the vineyard, and of course in particular about the vegetative cycle and the reproductive cycle of the vineyard, of the vines. So of course, as always, feel free to ask questions, please. If some of you has some kind of question, I will be very happy to try to, of course, answer to you. And if you have like I don't know, any suggestion for the next live stream, just tell me. You can, of course, make a comment, leave a comment also, if you want, in the replay that we will post in the next few days of this, of course, this live stream. And again, as I always tell you, we have a private Facebook group which is called Friends of Montemaggio. If you want, you can join us. We sometimes, of course, also you can, sometimes people also leave their comments there, and they make to us suggestion about what kind of topic they want to discuss during this live stream. Yeah, so if you have any kind of like comments to make, of course, just do that. I would be very happy about. Also, I would like to tell you that We have also a YouTube channel where we post every week two new videos. Of course, one is the replay of the live stream. So if you want to see back to see again this live stream, you can also go there. And also we post a video that is of course, it's always like about the Monte Maggio winery and all of the things that are happening right here, right now. Of course, in the moment that we always try to talk about the season that we are in that specific moment. So thank you so much. Of course, I hope you enjoyed this little wine discussion. Of course, we are it's almost Easter, right? So hope you will have a wonderful Easter. And of course, if you of course again, if you want to leave any kind of comments, I will be very happy. If you have any kind of suggestion for the next live stream, I will try, of course, to prepare one discussion with your ideas. Thank you so much again, and see you next time. Ciao.